Yo, what up, Wolfpack? This is Blind Wolf, and we back at it again. I'd like to thank everybody that subscribe, like, share, comment on these videos. I truly appreciate it from the bottom of my heart. All right, come on, Wolfpack, let's go on this journey. Y'all know I lost my eyesight July 7th, 2007 while I was in prison. But today we're going to talk about how my mind started to really expand. I actually really got serious about going to school and reading a lot of books and philosophy, science, math. These things came a history. These things came a great part of my daily life. Like it's like I couldn't get away from wanting to learn more. And then I actually had a homeboy in there where he and we would actually go out on the yard. We would sit there on the yard and we would just come out there with books and we would talk philosophy, talk science. We would talk history. We would actually study. And this brother was a great influence to me. He was actually one of the dudes that I met that was a little older, but young. He wasn't like old in his 60s or nothing like that. To me, he was a little older because he was in his 30s. I was in my late 20s at the time. So he was coming down off a big bit. So he had a lot of time in to be studying some things that I had never even thought about reading. So as he's enlightening me to these different things, my brain is opening up. And I'm just so open to knowledge and accepting, education into my life at this point because I want to change. I want a serious change. I already know that I'm going through something major with my eyesight. I need to be able to come home and be able to do something that's beneficial for myself, for my family, so that I can still be a productive member of society. And the only way that I'm going to be able to do these things is by having some sort of education and then being re educated when I get out on the streets on how to live visually impaired because I'm walking around this penitentiary and I really can't see what's going on, but I can squint out of my eye enough to read these books. And trust me, I was into my books. So I would go to school and I actually got really good in my classes to the point where I was ahead on things. And my teacher, he actually said, why don't you just help to tutor some of the guys because you got this stuff. This stuff is like easy to you. And I attribute that to the time that my man, he actually gave me my first book over there. And not no urban novel because I really didn't get into urban novels. He gave me something called Thus Spoke Zarathustra by Friedrich Nietzsche. And I've read this book so many times and I try to absorb the knowledge that I was receiving from the strength of the dragon over the snake. You had to read Thus Spoke Zarathustra to understand the riddles that were going on inside of there and how the snake thought it could overpower the dragon, and the dragon didn't do anything but laugh at the snake. But this stuff, it really started to have my brain kind of like opening up because now I'm reading sonnets, I'm reading riddles, I'm reading philosophical books that are, I'm talking about deep, deep, had me thinking about things that I never would have thought about before. So they moved me over into H dorm. And while I'm up in H dorm, like I said, my mind is starting to open up to a whole lot of different things. And one of my Muslim brothers named Abdul Hadi. Abdul Hadi was the person that initially gave me Shahada. And I was 50-50 with it at this time. I was 50-50. This was October 8th, 2008. I'll never forget it because I still consider that my birth date as being a Muslim, but I know that I was 50-50. I was still straddling the line. And I'm thankful that I moved down into A dorm because when I moved down into A dorm, I actually started seeing these brothers praying in front of my bunk every day. And as they prayed in front of my bunk every day, I got more and more intrigued. And I started noticing that I would wake up early in the morning before everybody else just to watch the brothers pray. And I would be locked in Like I wasn't listening to no music. I wasn't reading no books. I wasn't even trying to use my bike or anything like that, which is the cell phone, like I told y'all in another video. But I will be studying everything that they doing, every position that they in. And one day I just started crying while I was watching this early in the morning. It's like 4 o'clock in the morning, maybe a little after. And tears just rolling down my eyes. And as the tears rolling down my eyes, I'm just watching the brothers, and I could see myself offering the Salatul prayer along with the brothers. So when the brother Rafiq, who actually would lead the Salatul prayer, was done, he got up. I'm walking straight over to him, and tears are rolling down my face. So everybody, they not looking at me like I'm coming over there on no crazy stuff. They looking at me like, man, what's wrong with They call me Stokey. What's wrong with Stokey? So as I'm walking close, he look at me, he like, what's wrong? What's wrong? I'm like, I don't know, man. Let me holler at you real quick, Rafiq. So he like, man, what's going on? What's going on? I'm like, look, man, I don't know what's going on with me right now, but what y'all was just doing right there, I belong right there. I belong up in them ranks. I seen myself going into every position while y'all was going into them, but I was over here sitting on my bunk. So he like, man, that's deep. So he say, look, I gotta go to work today. I'm go get myself together because we gonna go out here for breakfast, and I leave out a little while at the breakfast, but later on this evening we can sit down, we can chop it up, and I'll come down here and I'll talk to you some more. So I was like, all right, that's what's up. Please don't forget. So he like, man, I got you, and I'm gonna bring some chips down there. So take me on my word. I'm gonna be there. We're gonna have some nacho chips, and it's just gonna be me and you, and we're gonna chop it on up. So I'm like, all right, that's what's up. So he go to work, I go to school, hit the yard a little bit, come back, shower, chopping it up with people inside of the dorm for a little while. We even go to dinner, come back at the dinner, and I just be going over there, for the trip sometimes, and most of the time bread. So come back over from dinner, we back up in there. He come over there to my bunk. So when he come over there to my bunk, he like, come on, let's go talk. So I'm like, all right, that's what's up. I sit down, he sit down, and he start informing me about Tawheed, the oneness of Allah. He start talking to me about the five principles of Islam. Um, and we sat there for such a long time, and he was patient. If I asked a question, he didn't have a problem with, you know, answering the question or telling me I don't want to answer this question unless I have proof in front of me to answer the question. But if it was something that was just a regular question, yeah, he would answer it to the best of his abilities. And he would show me to the best of his abilities. So it got to the point where he had been sitting down there with me for about a good hour and a half, and we were talking. We done ran through the nachos, we done ran through some soda, and we having a good time as we're talking. But he can see that I'm into this, like I'm deep into this. So I asked him, I say, can you recite the Salatul prayer for me? So he was like, can I recite the Salatul prayer for you? I said, yeah, can you recite it for me a couple times? So he was like, okay. So he just recited the beginning and the first surah. And that's all I really wanted to know at that point. So I heard him say that a few times, and then I also said to him, I know that you be saying something else. So after you get done saying Ameen, what do you say? That's something called the Tashahud. So he recited the Tashahud for me. And I'm like, wow. So I was like, well, just recite the whole thing. So he recited the beginning, the first surah. Well, the beginning is seeking refuge with Allah. Um, the surah, um, and then the Tashahud. Then we have something called the Ibrahim, and then you can close it on out after that. So, and that's just summarizing real quick, just the recitation of the Salatul prayer, not the movements and all of those things. I'm not getting ready to get into that with y'all. So he reciting all of this stuff to me, and I'm like, I'm just listening to him, listening to him, listening to him. So he like, all right, man, I gotta get ready to get on up here and start getting myself together because we gotta get started early again tomorrow, and I gotta get my workout on. I'm like, all right, that's what's up. So we dab it on up. He go on upstairs. I sat there in my bunk, and I just kept on reciting it in my head. I got a real good memory. So before you know it, I'm gonna say maybe like 9:45, almost 10 o'clock. I go up there to his bunk, and he laid out on his bunk, and he got a book up in his hands. I tapped the bottom of the bunk, and he look up. He like, "What's up, Ot?" So I lean over there towards him, and I say, and I just started to recite the Salatul prayer and the beginning part of the Tashahud, and he just was looking at me. His eyes was wide as all outdoors. He was like, "Wow, how did you learn that like that?" I said, "I got a real good memory, Ot. I got a real good memory. I just wanted you to keep repeating it so that I could have it ringing in my head." And this was one of the most special moments of my life because I actually got a chance to be around some brothers that really helped to open my eyes up to the destiny that I feel like I'm supposed to be upon. Being a upstanding Muslim man. And I enjoy being around my brothers. I enjoyed spending time with these brothers. There was another brother on the tier, Kareem, and Kareem actually was the one that gave me my Muslim name, Abdul Alim Farouk. And he said, "You know what Abdul Alim means, right?" I'm like, "Nah." He like, "Student of the all-knowing." He like, "You got a sharp brain. You got," because now mind you, Rafiq, he's so proud. He's telling everybody, he like, "Man, he learned Shahada in like 20 minutes. I mean, he learned how to offer the Salatul prayer in like 20 minutes. Like he learned all of the words like that." So everybody tripping. So Kareem would come over to my bunk, and he had a noble Quran, and he would be sitting over there reading and teaching stuff with me, and I'm soaking this stuff up. And this was one of the better things that happened in my life. And it happened inside of those prison walls. And I actually grew a great deal of strength from allowing Allah to take that evil seal off of my heart. I loved it. I loved every minute of learning everything that I could learn about Islam. This was one of the best things that I can say happened in my life for real. Now, mind you, I'm in prison. I'm in the worst place on earth for everything. But for whatever reason, there is great knowledge, there is great intent, and some of the greatest people come from inside of those prison walls. Don't ever forget what I tell y'all, people, because trust and believe me, what I'm about to say means something. Practicing them 5 P's, proper planning prevents poor performance. I didn't plan for my heart. I didn't plan for my brain. I didn't plan for me. But there was a plan out there for me. And I'm just grateful that I was allowed the opportunity to be able to overcome that negative energy that kept me away from even wanting to hear anything about God. Now I can really properly plan for my life. Now I can really put something in front of me that actually gives me a little bit more drive, because I'm not just doing this, out the kindness of my heart. I'm doing this because this is my heart. This is what Allah gave me. He gave me discipline, dedication, determination to never give up, to never give up on myself, to never give up on myself, to always keep on fighting forward. In some kind of way, he's going to make that way. So by the reading of the books, I was starting to properly plan. I was starting to come into the destiny that I was supposed to be coming into. And I hope that I learn more and more as time goes on how to fall more into my destiny. But it starts with properly planning. It starts with properly planning. And that only happened to me by me going to the worst place on earth so that I could hit rock bottom and actually really start to look up and never look back down. The philosopher Epictetus says something that I really want y'all to really take into mind. God has entrusted me with myself. So when you think about the fact that God has entrusted you with yourself, that's a great gift because it's only one you. Keep yourself motivated. Keep yourself strong. Don't ever back down from your faith. And remember, it's big love coming from the blind wolf. And we in the building, wolf.